This episode is brought to you by Google Gemini. With the Gemini app, you can talk live and have a real-time conversation with an AI assistant. It's great for all kinds of things, like if you want to practice for an upcoming interview, ask for advice on things to do in a new city, or brainstorm creative ideas. And by the way, this script was actually read by Gemini. Download the Gemini app for iOS and Android today. Must be 18 plus to use Gemini Live.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
Hello and welcome to the Rock Your Voice podcast. Vocal coaching tips that will transform your voice, interviews that will inspire, industry guidance, and so much more. Without further ado, let's get on with the show. Hello and welcome to How to Sing Part 2. This is a really condensed, quick version of episode 80, which is actually one of my most popular episodes. It's How to Sing / Singing for Beginners Masterclass. So that's a really deep dive into beginner singing and how to start your journey. But I wanted to give you 5 quick tips to get the experience going. And if you're brand new at singing or if you wanted a refresher, these are 5 tips that are going to help you get into it with a nice, safe approach that's not going to strain your voice and hopefully build your confidence and allow you to really dig into what you enjoy, which is singing for fun. So one of the biggest things you'll always hear at the beginning is breath is key. So let's look at a few breathing techniques that are going to really help you. Now, breath kind of goes hand in hand with confidence. If you are shallow breathing, that can trigger fight or flight, which can also contribute to performance anxiety. And if you get nervous about singing, if you're not breathing properly, it can kind of trigger the body to start tensing the muscles that you actually need to be really relaxed to be able to sing in a nice, comfortable, confident way. So what I want you to think about is low lung capacity. So if you put your one hand on your tummy and one hand on your chest, what I want you to do is take a nice deep breath in, and you want your chest to stay pretty still, but your tummy's going to expand. And I want you to kind of feel some expansion around your lower rib cage, maybe the lower back, and then moving up to kind of between the shoulder blades. So you're kind of letting your lungs fill up like you would fill up a glass of water. It's filling up from the bottom. You're not filling up shallow breath from the very top. Your shoulders aren't hiking up around your ears. None of that tension is building. Now, another way to reduce tension and relax the brain and the body is to make sure that the out breath is longer than the in breath, which is why singing is scientifically proven to reduce stress, reduce blood pressure, and calm people down and kind of bring that joy and that dopamine and all of that stuff, is because we're initiating this response in the body because you're taking a breath in and then you're singing a line or singing a long part of music, which is actually that extended out breath. So what you're going to do is take in a nice deep breath, making sure your stomach's relaxed, you can feel your lower lung capacity expanding, so breathing in, and then we're going to hold a hiss for as long as you can that is comfortable. Don't push and don't aim to be like lightheaded. So just a tss, and feel that coming out. Hold that hiss while I'm talking if you can, and just feel that hiss moving out of your body. Feel the stomach coming back in again. Feel that movement within the body. Start to connect with this. Connect with your instrument. Understand what's going on when you're doing all of this work. So try one more time and I'll do this with you. You're going to breathe in. Nice deep breath in, and then keep going if you can. Now what you don't want is for your sort of chest to collapse, for your shoulders to collapse down and push into that area. You want to stay nice and tall and supported and strong, but you want to also not put a lot of impact in the chest area there. Okay, so there's a ton more breathing exercises. I will put links in the show notes to the breathing exercises episode as well as episode 80, which is the much bigger, deeper dive into this. Also, I am kicking off my beginner singer online course January 9th. So if you want to do some online training with me, it's all live, and we do weekly live classes, and we can dig deeper into
all of this. So please reach out if you want to join that class. I'll put the links in the notes for that as well. So the next thing I want to think about is placement. Now, this is all about how the notes are going to move throughout your body. Same as the keys on a keyboard, same as the strings on a guitar, your fingers have to move to hit different frequencies or different higher, lower notes, okay? So when we're singing high or low in our voice, you want to allow for flexibility and movement. So if you put your hand on your chest, and this is kind of my speech level areas, kind of this note here. If I go, ah, I can really feel a buzzing in my chest. If I want to sing a bit higher and I go, ooh, that buzzing moves from my chest up to around my nose, kind of the roof of my mouth area. It doesn't suddenly go, ooh, I'm not pulling from my throat. I'm letting it move with flexibility. Now, this is where we get a bit troublesome because there is that bridge area and everyone has that. So don't worry if you're like, oh, I have this yodely thing. That is the bridge or the break, which is where things transition. And every voice has this, male, female, whatever. You all have a bridge or break in your voice, okay? We can smooth it out and we can learn to kind of, or you can, where you're starting out, you're probably, and where it kind of switches from being like in your chest to up in your head voice, and it sounds a bit choiry. You can learn all different kinds of techniques to really blend that. Mixed voice is one really good way if you like commercial kind of singing sounds. But also that bridge and that break is really cool. If you want to, you say, for example, Leanne Rimes, when she sings Blue, that snap in her voice there, that bridge, that's really using her break to create an artistic sort of stylistic sound there. So there's time and a place for it. And you can also smooth it out. So don't panic if you're like, I have this break in my voice, it's really weird. Everyone has this. It's not just you. But this is where learning those transitions can really help you. So down here in your chest, or up here in your head. Start exploring those sensations of where the resonance is living, because that's how you're going to start leaning into those notes and start putting things in a safe way as opposed to pushing from your throat. Now, there can be a tendency at the beginning to want to push those notes because they'll sound better, they'll sound stronger, but that's where you can get into dangerous habits and you're actually going to shrink your range. With more flexibility, you start to be able to build strength and stamina. But without that flexibility, what you're going to do is just start training your brain to push for high notes and start getting yourself in a position where it's like, these are just, I have to put these really tough songs at the end of a set, or you rely on like having to really push for high notes and bigger sounds in bigger songs, and your brain just gets used to thinking that singing is hard and singing can be painful, which it is not. This is why successful singers have stamina, strength, and they can go on tour and they can sing night after night for hour after hour and then get up the next morning, do a radio show at 6 o'clock. It's because they're using proper technique and that flexibility and movement in placement. Again, episode 80 digs a lot more into this, and we're going to cover this in depth in the Beginner Singer program, because this is the key to how to access a bigger range, more stamina, keep your voice healthy and strong, and do all kinds of cool stuff with your voice. You need that flexibility. So thinking about that, also thinking about sounds. Don't judge your voice too harshly. We often really judge our voice and don't allow ourselves to go through the process of figuring out what we need to do to sing a song properly. I often refer to singing as like learning a dance routine. You have to learn the steps, you have to understand the movement and the flexibility and give your body the freedom to go through it before you speed up the music and you put on the fancy costumes and the sparkles and all of that kind of stuff, right? Learn how the song moves through your instrument, learn the placement of all of the different notes, learn the shapes of the different sounds. Vowels can absolutely impact how well you hit a note or how comfortably you hit a note. An E might feel easier for you to sing than an oo. So think about the vowels in the words of the songs that you're singing as well as the placement. Those things combine hand in hand and can really impact how you sing. But you have to pay attention to all of this stuff as you're going along, because that's going to really help you, like I said, learn that sort of dance routine or the pattern or the map to a song so you understand what's coming. It's not just like, oh, I can sing this good or bad. You've got to learn how to put everything together. Again, the beginner singers course, we're going to dig so much into this, and I really, really hope you join if this is something that you want to learn about. Warming up as well is a key, just key. It's wild. It blows my mind how many established artists that I work with, and they're like, I never warm up. And then I give them a warm up and they're like, wow, this has really changed everything. I'm like, whoa, okay, no surprises there. However, people neglect their warm up so frequently, and a warm up isn't a vocal workout. It can literally be 10-15 minutes of very gentle vocalization, because you don't want to be tired after a warm-up. You want to feel like you are ready to go. So warming up is just very gentle vocalization. It can be a combination of breath work. It can be some really gentle vocal slides, sort of lip rolls, like stuff like that, some humming, really gentle things that are just going to get the voice ready to work. So a warm-up doesn't mean you have to commit like half an hour, 45 minutes to just getting your voice ready to sing first. But once you do start incorporating warm-ups, you will understand that when you start singing, you're going to get so much more from your voice, and you're going to have so much more fun when you start actually working your voice, because it's going to be ready for work and it's going to be able to do so much more without getting tired. You're going to be able to have more range, more stamina, more strength, all of those cool things. So I believe episode 35, easy and effective vocal warm-up, is it's quite a popular one here on the old podcast. So go check that one out if you're looking for a warm-up to get things going for you. But there's a ton of them on here on the podcast too. So go check those out, but definitely start incorporating a warm-up. Just remember that a warm-up is just that. It is not a vocal workout. You're not straining or training or putting any pressure on the voice. You're just getting it ready to sing, and that is going to change everything. Now, a lot of times I'm asked, are you just born with it? I'm a terrible singer, and you might be here because you don't have that much faith or confidence in your voice. It's really interesting. I'm a firm believer in kind of nature, nurture, all of that stuff. It's if you grew up in a house where it was kind of not safe to color outside the lines, you had to be quiet, go read a book, don't be so noisy, and maybe you even had people tell you as a kid that you weren't a very good singer, or someone told you that you're not very good and you're holding on to that will absolutely impact how your body relates to your voice and how your body reacts when you go to sing, because that tension is going to creep in. That subconscious messaging is going to hold the muscles, like build that tension and not allow you to relax into your voice and let it flow. So that can take a little bit of work of just like, you know what, find a safe space, be able to make noises, and don't judge it like, oh, I'm a bad singer. Like, look at it as like, I am learning a new instrument. It's a new skill. It's a learned skill. So look at it as really like learning something new. Don't judge yourself if it sounds funky, if it goes wrong. I'm sure you didn't ride a bike perfectly the very first time. I'm sure your first steps were a little bit wobbly. So just trust that things are going to be a little bit shaky when you start, and that it's a learned skill, and you can definitely improve with commitment and practice. And again, please join my beginner singer group course if this is something you want to dig deeper into. It starts January 9th and it's going to be super fun. I'm really, really excited. So trust yourself, go explore, don't be afraid to color outside the lines. I guess coming back to my point is, if you did grow up in a house where it was like, yes, sing, color messy, sing loud, go create, put on shows with your cousin in the living room, like do all these crazy creative things. If you were in a house where that was encouraged, you possibly have more confidence in your creative side, and therefore you're allowed to, you kind of feel like you can let it flow a bit more and things settle a lot easier. It's not a matter of like you were born a better singer or any of that kind of stuff. I really think if you were just encouraged more as a kid, I think it's easier to tap into this stuff. Anyway, that's just my kind of idea on things. But if you have been sort of told to be quiet, have been told you don't sound good, any of that stuff, let's work on letting go of that, because these are learned skills and you can 100% learn them. You are not born a good or bad singer, but holding on to those thought patterns will inhibit a good voice coming out with confidence. So confidence is key. So we want to think about several things here that I want you to remember. Breath placement, not forcing notes up or down, but letting that flexibility come in, allowing things to move. Thinking of sounds when you're singing. Don't necessarily judge the song as a whole. Think about the different vowels, whether it's a thin nasal sound, whether it's a sort of big, thick, fat, boosty sound. Like, listen to the different shapes and sounds as you go through your favorite songs. What are the singers creating? And then remembering to warm up, and also just knowing that competence equals confidence. So if you become more and more competent at these skills, the confidence is going to come. And also, if you start feeling anxious and nervous, those muscles are going to engage and it's going to hold you back a bit. So just find yourself a safe space to practice in, where you're going to have no judgment from anyone else, especially yourself. Okay, don't judge yourself, explore, go play with your voice, see what comes out, make some crazy noises, have some fun. And then if you want to dig deeper, like I said, episode 80 has this it's like a 45-minute masterclass that can dig deeper into all of this stuff. And then also the beginner singers class is starting January 9th. Links will be in the show notes, and please reach out if you have any questions at all and you want to start your singing journey. I am here for you. You can 100% do it. Quick extra thing is that a lot of people think they're tone deaf. They are not. You just need ear training. There is a very small percentage of the population that is actually tone deaf. I've met maybe 2 people in my entire coaching career of over 20 years of people who are tone deaf. And then you can train your ear. You can get better at pitch. There is a lot of people who are not very good at pitch accuracy. But again, this is a learned skill. You can train it. You can work your ear. You can get much more confident at it and much more competent at it. And there's a ton of ways I can help you with this too. So do not doubt yourself. You're probably not tone deaf, but we can absolutely work with your ear training, pitch, and get everything nice and confident and strong too. Hope this has helped, and I hope this has got you started on your journey, and I also hope to see you maybe January 9th. Take care. Have a good one.
Thank you so much for listening to today's show. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And if you do leave a review, it's really useful to help others discover the show. You can also check out the weekly vocal workout over on Patreon. I'll leave the links in the show notes, where you can access weekly vocal training from yours truly and totally rock your voice. Thanks again for listening. Check out Rocket Vocal Studios on social and on the web, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.